and they want to do. I mean, many people I meet are so motivated to change the world and change the university.
You said first
and then,
2 weeks.
And then, yeah, but I mean, I know this from myself, right?
After
After 2 weeks, I'm into period 1 and I have my readings to do, and I won't do anything else unless I already signed up for something and now I have to do it.
And you forgot.
No, it's okay. It's already starting?
Yeah, it's already started.
Okay. Okay.
Welcome back, guys, to the second
Welcome.
part.
So we will talk about something else because like we had to split the episodes, otherwise could be really like too long, and we have a time actually. So welcome again, and that's our friend Peter. You already saw him from. He was there, but he's the same Peter.
So welcome to the offcast.
I mean, always. I mean, you already were here, so I mean, why you're watching the second episode?
Yeah, but
without the first?
last week they were.
Yeah, but still, no. I mean, we will try to put them in the same week. Otherwise, the people will say, "Who are those guys again? We need to start again."
If you didn't watch the episode, go watch it.
Go back, because we are falling from the sky. So, can you present what was the topic?
The last topic we talked about with Bella was student association.
Okay.
And she talked about how there's many, kind of experience that you can get there. And one of the experience is of journalism. And we have Peter here, who is the head of journalism.
Welcome again.
UNSA,
Good to be
which
here.
stands for United Nations Student Association. And we have the pleasure to have him to talk about, news with the student.
Everything,
how does it
everything.
work? How do you get? First, maybe introduce yourself a little bit. Like, who are you? How old are you?
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm 24, quite old for a bachelor student, but
You're young. Come on.
I'm the old man of my committee though, and so I study law here in Maastricht in my 3rd year now, and I'm also in my 3rd year with the journal committee of the United Nations Student Association. So I remember I joined the association because I knew Euromoon. And then I didn't actually join Euromoon, but found the journal instead. And for the last 2 years and a bit, I've been a member of that journal. So what we do is relatively what you would expect from a student newspaper, pretty much. We have our blog online. Actually, since the last year, we focus a lot more on online. Usually, we used to have printed editions that were lying around in cafes and different places in the university and around Maastricht. And I think many people also found them and read them, but there was little feedback with the readers because we just put them out, those printed editions, and then we never really heard back from the people who read it.
It's better online.
So now what we did, last year also the choice was obvious because everything was online, and many people were actually not in Maastricht at all. So we also moved a lot more of our focus online. So now we have a new blog, or we've had it for a year now, so it's not that new anymore, but still it can be found at maastrichtdiplomat.org, and there we publish all our articles, and we have interviews with people in Maastricht. We have all kinds of issues that students in Maastricht are concerned about, because all of our members, so we are at this time around 30 members, quite many people actually, and obviously all of us, we are all students at including myself, all the volunteers, and so we all have this perspective of students in Maastricht, which obviously is quite different from other places and other life situations, but still our people are coming from all kinds of backgrounds. We have people from, I think all faculties actually. We usually have many people from Fasters and many people from law, but this year especially we have a number of people from FHML, for example, FPN, FSE also. So it's super diverse. We probably have more nationalities than people actually, because many people have several. I'm not sure. I'm not one of those, but it's a thing, right, in Maastricht.
Okay, and yes, that's why I would like to ask you, because I was never a student here. So explain to me everything. Like, what do you do? How you started? Like, how you knew about this journalism, student journalism?
Yeah. So, I mean, as I said, I first joined the UNSA just because I had heard of it and I thought it was a very interesting thing. And then I learned, oh, they have this journal. And really, for me, the choice was like, I've never done journalism, but it's something really we can go into all kinds of topics, because usually I have a hard time deciding what to focus on because I'm interested in a number of things and they don't always go together quite well. But in journalism, you can just pick your topic, you can just make connections wherever, and even if you choose to focus on one thing for one article, the next time you can write about totally different topics. At least that's for us. I think if you work for a newspaper, maybe you have more your department. But that's also the nice thing about like this volunteer student newspaper. We're super open to suggestions. We're super open to the input that our own writers have and to their own perspective, because that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for me telling them what to write about. No, really, I always encourage everyone to come up with their own ideas, with their own ideas for articles, or the podcast that we have, or the interviews that we have with different people, and really, so it's very independent, but still you get the guidance. We give input on journalistic formats, and we teach a lot. I mean, as from own experience, more than anyone has. I haven't studied journalism or anything, but I've been around with the journal for 2 years. I've seen a lot, so I can just pass that on. We do organize workshops with more experienced people sometimes. So yeah,
it's amazing because I had a friend. He was studying scientifico, like
scientific high school.
Yeah. And he wrote an article of journalism in Italy, and the professor started to cry. He gave him 10 lode, and he started to cry. He said, "I never saw someone can write like you." I swear that the professor, like I swear, I was like, what is this? They told me, I wasn't there. And I was like, what do you mean? He gave them, I never saw this. You
it's
are
probably
grateful.
the best thing that can happen.
My God, yeah. Because the guy, this professor never gave 10. Also, he always 8. If you are the best, he give you 9. You know, but this guy is crazy. Marco Berenati, ciao. He's like from Italy, and now actually he's a doctor. He's a med. Yeah. He's still studying for I think 7 years total. So I mean, this guy is like, that's why it's the small experience I have is because of this guy, and my friends all they write. They really love to write in blogs in internet or even like in real news. So that's my small experience about it, because I will never forget this story that the professor started to get emotion, you know. Yeah. So I was like, that's and the guy is super smart. So I can imagine how you need to organize yourself before to write everything. You need to be careful how to write. It's complicated.
I mean it goes quite natural many times, because I mean we are all studying. Many of us have to write many papers for university, yes, so absolutely. It's not that we can't write or anything, but it's the nice thing again is that the articles that we write, they're shorter than the usual university paper. They have a way different approach to it's a lot more creative in how we're looking at the issues that we write about. I mean, it's not creative writing as such, but you are just free to put in your own perspective, reflect on so many different things, make connections that in an academic paper you wouldn't maybe make, and even the topics that you choose. You can write about pop culture, but I've also written about law. Actually, I've written about maths. I've written about books. I've written about so many different things.
What's the most difficult part of the job as a journalist? What do you think?
Well, I mean, sitting in front of the blank page and starting the first words, that obviously is in any kind of writing. I mean, I don't know, some people are naturals. I one of those who takes a while to get started, yeah. But once it's going, it's really it's something we are doing, because I mean, writing is such a we're writing a lot. I think even, you know, people don't call each other anymore. They write text. I mean,
it's a form
of communication.
There's so many. We write so much. Then we write for the university. We write but all of these things are rather because we have to, or it's not really a conscious thing. It's not often just, I sit down and write because I want to. And that's the time when you are in an association like this and you actively chose, okay, really, I want to do this now, then it was your choice, and or our members, most of them, I mean, of course, they want to write. So that's really a different. It's a way different setting than the whole usual thing that we are used to.
Yeah, but I think I can also answer from his question. I mean, the difficult part in the end is like the feedback of the people, of the read the article.
Yeah.
I mean, can I just ask you a quick question before you answer?
But
Like, do you feel like while you write like your articles, you're more objective writer? Like you write from an objective point of view, or you feel like your experience bias you, like in what you're writing?
Yeah, this is difficult.
I mean, we're talking a lot about biases and objectivity. There's also, I mean, this is also an academic debate, but also in journalism, we think a lot about whether we are objective, but then if you write, I think my tone is relatively neutral, but of course I'm writing from my own perspective, and I'm not claiming to know everything. I mean, far from that. I don't pretend to be an expert in all kinds of topics. So what I can contribute is my perspective,
with your experience,
my take. And I mean, I also borrow from other people. Obviously, when I do my research, I also read other journalists' work. I read what people, academics wrote. I read. So I'm just, even if I'm writing about a topic that's maybe not happening in Maastricht, but anywhere in the world, I can't just go and have a look. So I also rely on other people's perspective. So I think it's important to be aware that obviously what you're writing is your perspective with the means that you have. Still, I think as long as you were kind of transparent about how you came to think this. If you don't pretend that you know everything, I think that's perfectly fine. That's what we're humans.
What would you suggest to someone that would would want to get into journalism as a student?
Yeah, I mean, so I think this kind of first experience in an environment where you can experiment, like an association which is a bit more open, and we don't have this kind of pressure like a real newspaper to publish this so quickly and earn money with it. So we're way more relaxed with that to just learn and experiment. And so I think that's an amazing experience to learn the trade and to put it on your CV, frankly. But there's so many also kinds of journalism that you can do. It's not because I've been talking a lot about writing because I tend to write a lot. But I mean, this right now is journalism. I mean, you are a journalist, so
yeah. But that's why our idea is to go to in the future. Should I say it or not? It's a spoiler, but it's okay. No, I mean,
yeah, you can say it.
In the future, we'll go like during a party to ask people intervistare.
Are you gonna film it?
Yes, of course. Like when somebody wasted. What do you think about politics?
If you have a club, invite us.
So that's our idea. So I know
that's the kind
that's
of
a form of journalism.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a lot of forms of journalists, like you
totally.
said.
I mean,
before.
there's
It's
so
amazing.
many things. I've said it quickly. We have a few different formats. We have the traditional blog thingy, but then again, that's even we had it in print and we had it online, and they're already things were totally different. For I think the last 2-3 years, the Master Diplomat also has had a podcast, which is that's a very traditional podcast also where our members would do research and then have a very informed discussion. For also have guests talk to NGOs. That's a different form, and the whole process is very different. I notice when our podcasting team, how they work is totally different from how I worked for writing my articles.
But
And
your
then-
your colleagues are still working in podcasts?
Yeah. I mean, it still exists. It's going
Maybe
on.
they need work. I'm joking. I'm joking.
They need they see this and they can learn from us.
Learn? No, I don't think so. We don't have that much
We can
experience.
learn from them.
Exactly, it's the other way. That's why if they want like a good job.
But there's actually we wanted to
What did you say? What did you say?
You said if you want a job, and I said we cannot offer it.
For the moment. I mean,
um,
not without any cash, but for the moment.
If you
It's
want to come
volunteering.
here and do
Volunteering, yes.
Volunteering, exactly.
We are doing it right now.
Come here. We need an editor.
but,
So yes, please.
Yeah, what I was going to say. So one thing is we also ourselves wanted to experiment a bit more with even more formats. We have a few people who are experienced with photography, with film. So not necessarily as a journalistic format, but they know how to use cameras and how to make it look good. So and then what we really wanted to try this year is go into visual journalism, which is again a whole different process. But also, I mean, because you asked how could you possibly get into, I know so many people who are just in their own, basically from their bedroom, create amazing journalistic formats.
Absolutely.
And sometimes Instagram is kind of taken as the less serious form of journalism, but I really don't believe that. I think it's really what you make of it. Obviously, it's very visual, but our world is very visual right now. We work a lot with pictures and communication
And
is,
stories.
Stories.
Let's go down.
It's really I mean, but this is valid. This is a valid way to convey not only information but
Communicate
moods,
to the world.
opinions and kind of perspective. So I think, I mean, as recipients, we all know it. I mean, I consume media on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
I
all do.
also
All day,
and
every day.
where do I find
Just
even the highbrow Guardian articles that I read? Where do I find them in my Facebook feed, if anywhere?
Of course,
is?
yeah.
So it's like,
If something happened, you don't see it in the TV anymore. You see it in your home in Facebook. Oh,
Yeah,
what's
it's
happened?
faster.
Oh, now, the Wall Street went down from Facebook. How?
but this can even be someone who just creates independently. We have a few members also who have been and still are independent creators on Instagram, for example. Can I give a shout out to Sharada? She's a super experienced member. She has an
Hello.
amazing Instagram channel. I hope I don't forget anyone else right now. But
What's her Instagram
this is
name?
popping. That's a very good question.
Oh, we will put it. I think if
Okay.
I like the account, I will put it. Of course, if
You will like
I
it.
trust you.
I can tell you, you will
Okay.
like it. It's really good. So this is just one example that I can think of right now where I really know someone who has created this image and this outreach platform just
To reach news. You know who else did this before the offcast?
Who?
Our Ilman Batuo.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did actually.
Ilman, our
Ilman
tour
did,
guy.
His podcast. I checked his account. 5 seconds, I text him, Amore mio, come, we work together. It was like, I told him my idea, he told me, that's amazing, because for the moment he stopped with his, because like I told him, what is this 200 views, Amore, only your close friends, no, let's reach everyone.
Yeah, because
you know?
he's doing really, like, he was, at least from my point of
Yeah,
view, what I saw was doing it for, like, the African American community, Caribbean
Yes, she
community.
actually asked me just right now.
Yeah, no, basically because there's a connection. A really good friend of mine, he's currently president of the African and Caribbean Student Association here in Maastricht, and he told me about Hillman as well. And like, yeah, that's why I thought it was funny.
Look at
It's
you.
such a small
the
world.
president.
Look at you, you're
Yeah.
famous.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, but what? Wait, I want to ask something. You said you study law for the moment,
yeah.
right? So can you tell me about something about student politics? Because I don't have nothing. I don't know actually. I'm interested of law. I never studied law, but it's affascinante.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Affascinante. I prefer Italian, amore mio. It's super beautiful, and how the international politics. I love it, and I love
True.
it. My
I mean,
friends.
there's really, again, like with journalism, there's so many kinds of politics that you could go into.
Please go.
I mean,
say your opinion.
we all have this image of European heads of states meeting in some fancy place, but this is, in my personal view, that is, of course, what everyone looks at, but there's so much important work that's happening on lower levels that people maybe don't appreciate as much, but that is so important for our daily lives. I mean, just imagine all the rules that the city kind of comes up with, and in both good or bad rules, think whatever you want, but how much influence city politics has on our lives. And this is Maastricht city politics, and I don't know how much you know about Maastricht city politics.
I don't know nothing
I
because
must
I don't
admit,
follow
even
them.
myself now, I'm
Pretty familiar with
I'm not incredibly familiar with, because it's nothing I would often hear about just like this without actively looking for it. So it's then again, of course, Dutch is not my mother tongue, so
Yeah.
but still, I mean, there's, especially I think Maastricht has a great way in communicating in English and like to an international community, even the things that are that come from a very local and very Dutch origin, like politics. So, and then maybe next to city politics, one thing that the university has is different councils, so student representative bodies. That is every faculty, actually. It's not only law, it's every faculty, and then the university, the whole university on top. Every faculty has a faculty council where students represent their fellow students.
Like
So
student voters,
It's
student
always
representatives.
in a number around between 5 and 10 students who meet, I believe, every month usually,
Okay.
and they debate different kinds of topics. They also, the staff is also represented, because and this is half students and half staff, and they debate important topics that the faculties are concerned with. They come up with proposals. They suggest things to the deans, and then on the higher university level, there would be the university council suggesting things to the executive board, working with them. So the executive board actually also asks the university council actively for input, and also the council itself can approach the executive board actively with ideas. So there's a relatively close collaboration, I mean constructive in the interest of the students. There's this collaboration between the university council and the executive board of the university.
I feel there is a but coming.
A what?
A but. You know, but.
Oh,
Like,
oh,
there is
yeah,
all
you
this
said-
structure, but.
Let's talk about. Yes, I mean there is one.
Like the structure of everything
Yeah, it
was
was like
but
there is this, there is it.
Well, how do I start this? I mean, there's a lot of them actually. I mean, but that's again.
Tell us about
It's
what-
always
from
like
your
politics.
experience.
Politics is not a one-sided thing. It's really, it can be super positive, but it can also be really shady. And I mean, the university isn't that shady, but it's an interesting.
we like it.
It's an interesting kind of type of politics, I would say, because first of all, from my own experience, not many students know that they are being represented.
Absolutely.
Because
I can agree.
When I was doing
Yeah.
Maastricht, it took me about, I think, 9 or 10 months to realize that this university council even existed. And the funny thing is, I had been studying in another university, and there was relatively prominent. So I knew that university politics per se is a thing, but then I didn't find it in Maastricht. And I was actually looking, I was trying to Google, is there like a student parliament or something where but I didn't find it.
Students don't feel like their choices are gonna be taken into consideration in this small amount of time.
Yeah. No, I know the problem that also there's a perception that the university council and the faculty councils can't really do a lot, which on paper is true. If you are really looking at the university regulations and the university statutes, it doesn't say that the faculty council can decide so much. There's a few very important decisions where the dean or the executive board of the university as the case may be, have to ask for approval from the council, but that's just changes to some very important documents. That's not the day-to-day running of the university. But from my experience, because these meetings by the university councils are actually all public. You can just go. I mean, it was on Zoom last time, but if you were a bit persistent, you were able to get the Zoom link from the person who organizes it, and then you could just hop into the Zoom meeting. And actually, interestingly, who was there? The head editor of the Observant newspaper that you probably also know from this flying around. That's actually a professional newspaper, so not what we are doing quite. But so she actually follows that, and everyone can. It's open. So and what I saw there was that it's not so much that the university council can dictate what the executive board is supposed to do, but the executive board does seem to listen quite closely. Obviously, I can imagine if there's a controversial or difficult decision to make, or if the university should allocate funds for certain things that are very important to the students and seem less important to the executive board, the university can just sort of say, no, we won't do that. And that I see that as a problem. I think there should be more power given to the students on the matters that are actually important to them. And the power means in this case actually the power to decide the things. Because what the university did, they actually, it's very funny because there's a Dutch law that regulates that every university has to have a university council that can at least do these things, and then there's a list of things. And our university statutes are a literal translation from Dutch to English of this law, and nothing added, like nothing more than is the absolute minimum required by law. And I think the university could do more. I'm not so familiar with this whole legal situation there, but I'm pretty sure if the university really wanted, they could give more power to the students. But then who wants to give away their power?
Exactly, but that's why, I think the students, they are not interested because no one is listening to them. They think their opinion, or if they complain, there is nothing.
I also think it's a circle of things.
It goes both ways, absolutely. It's really back and forth, because once the students think no one listens to them, they won't attend events, they won't be interested, they won't vote. But then if the representatives are in the university talking to the executive board, and what they need to say is, look, we can't force you to do this, but we have the whole student body behind us. All of them, or at least so many of us want this. But if no one cares, they can't say that. If this the student election that we had last May, only around 20% of students voted.
That's
and
nice.
and I think international students was even less. So the Dutch students tend to vote a bit more, but international students really below 20%, I think.
That's not nice.
So
crazy.
And then what is a representative going to say if only every fifth student even voted for someone?
Yeah. Like 80% of the students that are literally not represented.
Yeah.
And they don't then they don't feel represented, so they don't join like this.
And I see.
What's your opinion about this?
Super interesting conversation, by the way, and yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Like, nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about student politics.
When did you find out, actually?
I found out because of the debate that journal
After
organized.
3 years, 2 years?
Like end of second year.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't know anything. And basically, because it was part of my student association, I heard that they were organizing a debate about student politics. I was like, I'm going to go watch it because I want to support the journal committee, and it seems super interesting as well. And they also did a whole campaign on Instagram and on Maastricht University Instagram, and I was like, I need to watch this. And that's how I got into student politics, and that's how I started researching, and I made an informed vote and everything, because before that, I didn't know, and also I just didn't realize that this was relevant for me as like an individual at Maastricht University.
But it is.
But 100% it is, and it's so important that people become aware. And I think that's why it's amazing that, first of all, like, we can talk about it on this podcast and like in general and other platforms, just kind of like letting people know like how important it is and like that it exists. Like Peter explains it so well. Like you have so much knowledge about this, and like honestly, like thank you for initiating the debate and like literally everything that you did. I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
thank you for listening. Thank you for watching
for
it.
both.
Thank you, because I mean, no, that's literally the best kind of feedback that you can get. That people are actually seeing.
Interested
People
also.
are interested.
Because if someone doesn't know your existence of everything, how will be there? It will be no, okay, invitation from the university. I don't care. Oh, a party. Oh.
Yeah.
You understand? So
Yeah,
how
I
you
say.
how you
Yeah,
take the
USA.
attention of the students? You know,
Yeah.
you make a party.
Yeah.
You shut down the music and okay, let's talk about something
Let's
serious.
go.
Climate change, guys.
You, J Balvin, stop. Okay, climate change.
You can just vote at the entrance, and you have to vote
Yes.
To enter,
for
you
you.
vote.
To enter, no QR. Vote. Vote me. No, vote me.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
amazing.
it's-
Actually, that's a really good idea.
It's
we
a
should
good
do
idea,
that.
but it's so true because to actually get people like interested, you have to do something
Yeah.
that really gets their attention, whether it's on
Yeah.
social media or like adding some sort of twist and being like
Yeah.
talking about how relevant it is for them. Because like there's so many things that that you need to have represented in the university, and hopefully we see change. Like I mean,
Yeah.
you guys, we were talking about previously in other discussions about the housing crisis, about mental health, all these things. It needs to be addressed, and like I'm pretty sure every single student faces some sort of obstacle or some sort of issue in the university and student environment. And how can they have their voice heard?
Yeah.
By voting and having their voice represented and who
Yeah.
they vote for. So it's super important, and I just think that like kind of adding some sort of entertainment, whether party with debate, YouTube
That's
video,
amazing.
like
But that's why
yeah.
I told
Capacity
you,
in
you
mind.
will come back. You will, for sure, or you or him, I don't know. You will come back because we will do an event with you. I'm sure.
yeah, 100%.
we can
No,
make it.
I mean, and we can like, yeah, of course we can brainstorm about this, 100%.
Yes, I think for the base, it's a party, so everyone is like,
With
wow,
voting.
I'm coming. Are you going
And
to
then
the
it's a
party?
political
Free
party.
beer.
Yeah, because I think one of the problem that people don't get a lot of attention
That was
as
really
students.
Sorry.
No worries. It's about the fact that there's not people with finances, so they can make good marketing. Students are not able to make great campaigns.
Yeah.
So I think the
Except
university
marketing.
itself should bring more attention to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
No, 100%. What I noticed as well was there's a lot of independent candidates, and they also they didn't have like a whole organization or student association behind them to run this whole campaign, and they were doing it all independent. And of course, I don't know much about the support that they got, but it's also something. There's actually a lot of independent runners.
There was. I think
Definitely.
there was a lot more last year than the years before. But last week we had, I think, for the university council there was 3 independent candidates, and I think around 6 parties. So I mean, that's quite a number of independents, but also for some faculty councils there were also other independent candidates. I'm not sure if anyone made it. I think that was really also an interesting observation that despite they had their platform, they were present at the debate. Of course, I believe they made really valuable points. They really added a lot to the debate from their totally independent standpoint. But still, then it seemed that the student political parties, which had their backing, they had their social media teams, they had their kind of institutions. I mean, it's also student associations, and I mean they also don't have huge funds or anything, but there's still this backing that they get, and they were quite successful last year. So unfortunately, the independent candidates didn't actually make it, but that should, of course, only encourage more independent candidates to finally make the race.
Yeah.
If you're an independent, we have a
We're
space
looking
for
for
you.
you.
We have a
Actually,
space of you come
If
here
you,
to
if you
talk.
even have strong opinions or even any opinions about the
You
university,
can create your opinion.
If you have any opinions at all, come.
no, I mean,
We have space.
No, but that's amazing. It's young students are really difficult to how
Understand.
I can say, understand, but also to attract their attention.
attention.
You're here first year, you're studying, so you're studying so much. First year is always hard, so you want only a party later. No, but the student needs to understand that there is like studying, having fun, but you need to create your world, like
Your
it's
community.
They communicate. They don't really care.
Yeah.
I see it,
Yeah.
but
But
and after 3 years, I could be the president of the whole University of Maastricht. But they don't know.
But look, I think there's a very brief, it's maybe 2 weeks time span, the first 2 weeks that you study. Most of the people I meet that are first years, in the first 2 weeks of their studies pretty much, they're so motivated to do things because, it's a whole new thing in their lives, new town, new friends, new everything. And they want to do, many people I meet are so motivated to change the world and change the university.
You said first
and then,
2
and
weeks.
then, but I know this from myself, right?
After the second
After
year.
2 weeks, I'm into period 1 and I have my readings to do and I won't do anything else unless I already signed up for something and now I have to do it. But I think especially for student politics, that would be a really important time span to make the incoming students aware that this exists. And that's why I'm actually not a big fan of the fact that the elections that we have are in May, because that's at the end of the year. And
What?
everyone is kind
Yeah.
of wrapping up the year. I would have elections in the first 2 weeks.
August or
If I could,
September?
if I was
September or August.
to
When?
decide
When?
anything.
You mean like in the beginning of the year?
In the beginning of the year, in the first 2 weeks, or give it a month. Have it at the end of September, early October. I think
Yeah.
that would be.
Perfect.
First,
Yeah.
I can get quite passionate about this.
Yeah, no, it's very
I just
interesting.
think it's really important because that is my own experience. I noticed that university politics in Maastricht exists after 9 months, and at the end of the year, I have other concerns than to think about what some people do in a council that I don't know. But in my first two weeks, I'm here and I'm ready to change the world. I think many from my experience and from talking to other people, that is also many people have this feel like this, and so I think all the associations are advertising to new students in the first weeks at income before the university even starts, and student political parties also do it, I think, but this whole university council thing exists. It's less. It's not as much.
Yeah. Also,
Should be structured better.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think there's many sides because you also know this probably from anywhere. You get so many email newsletters, and if at the end of some email newsletter in the middle of the year someone says something about the university council, do you read it? I don't. Bella for sure does, but
In the middle of the 999 emails.
But
plus.
if after a week in my university I get this flashy email saying, look, this is how you can, how you can
Be
make
part.
your voice heard. This is how, this is where we listen to you. I think that would make a big
also
difference.
you mentioned the income. They give you the income. That's your word. Party time.
Yeah.
You don't understand the income is so organized. It's so people come back from Aruba or from Maldives to
People
be there.
come to Maastricht 2 weeks
Only to
earlier
1 week, to only
to-
be
to
there.
party.
Why? Because it's a party, amore mio, you enjoy. But after, before income, let's talk about.
But still, that's when
Yeah.
you get to
Let's
know
talk.
everything. In income, of course, it's a big party, but that's also the first impression you get from your university, from your new, from your new environment, and it's just a fact that this environment is shaped by political decisions, and if you notice how you can also change it, I think many people would be more interested. And I mean, not everyone has to be. I'm not saying everyone has to become a student representative. Not at all. I mean,
But at least make say your opinion and leave.
yeah,
At
be
least.
informed, be interested, and support. I see big demonstrations on Freithof, and I think that's an amazing thing that
Yes.
people go out and show their faces for the issues that matter.
Yes.
Only I don't see demonstrations for things that happen in the university.
Yes.
I have
You mean for for example?
not as much.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever
Maybe.
been a demonstration. Maybe in UCM, people will all sign a letter saying change this rule or something, but nothing major, nothing university wide. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the university should also make some action to.
Also the student representatives should be more should be a more cohesive group, or more connected group, rather than everybody has his own parties, you know,
No.
and then
I mean, I don't want to blame the representatives
No,
alone
it's not-
because
no,
I
it's not
think
about
they're
representation.
doing important work and they're doing it well. And I mean, they're also doing this next to their studies. It's not that people. I mean, some might take a year off, but I don't think that's very common in actual fact. So there's of course, and I know also they are really trying hard to
Absolutely.
get out to
Yeah.
people. But that's what I say. If you just, especially online, if you can just send emails, if you can just invite people to another Zoom event. So I really hope that this year, with going back to offline, people can have their booths again and like stand in the library entrance and talk to people, have
Yes.
their campaigns there.
That's amazing.
I think.
or have their campaigns here.
Or
Why not?
I'm neutral. I am and will stay neutral. But I mean, you invite all of them. I can give you all of the numbers.
I can.
That
One
would
by
be
one.
awesome.
Yes, I will sit there and they are four here.
Student
Like, tell me
debate
something.
Yeah.
the day before the election.
But
Here
guys,
on the
guys,
podcast.
thank you very much, guys, for
Thank you.
coming. Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
for
time.
inviting us.
Thank you, you guys. Thank you for your time. So we will see you again, I'm sure. Like
Yes.
you for sure, because we will making another episode. Really
Yeah.
interesting. I will see you for sure too.
Yeah.
Make
And
something.
yeah, and also like UNSA, like we have so many people to talk about so many different things. Like
Yes.
literally whatever topic you want, we have someone for you.
Yes.
So if you want to invite other people, like literally we have 9 people on the board.
We are super open.
Yeah.
We are open.
We're gonna
You-
invite
you're
all
welcome.
of
Yeah,
them.
invite them all.
all the night.
You're welcome.
They were
So-
gonna make a painting with all your faces.
So guys,
Invite them.
so guys, we go
we go off
Off
cast.
cast.